What's up, guys? Welcome to the Black Republican Theory. My name is Terry, your host. So today, this Monday, is a pretty solemn day. We all know that on Saturday evening, there was a mass shooting in New York. 10 people were killed. No, 13 people were killed, and I believe that it was 10 or 11 of them were black. The other ones were white. And it was a targeted shooting by a deranged racist individual, grown man, who him and his family, quite frankly, need to be held responsible. Why do I say his family? Because at age 18, there's no way that you were not raised with at least some type of racist beliefs and that you just carried those out. Now, it may be the case that he was probably a loner and that he decided that he was going to study, race and get into this whole GRT or Great Replacement Theory, thing, and that he just got warped into it and his parents didn't know what he was doing. That might be the case, but at least the very least is that his parents need to provide an answer for how they raised a son that could be such a monster. Now, that being said, we also have to go over the fact that there's a lot of plantation play out there right now where you have individuals on the left and the right trying to defend their political camp and defend their ideological wing rather than calling this what it is, a racist attack by a racist young man, and he should be held accountable to the fullest extent of the law. Similarly, in a way that Dylan Roof was down in South Carolina. In the Dylan Roof situation, you had, he went into a church, he actually sat through prayer with 9 black folk and then shot them up, right? I think it was 9 black folk, and then shot up the black church, and it was a historic black church. Well, Governor Nikki Haley's response to that was, hey, we need to make serious progress on race in this state. And it was the state of South Carolina, the first state to secede from the Union and form the Confederacy in order to defend slavery. And make no mistake, that's what the Civil War was about. It was about states' rights to defend and continue on their way of life of a slave system, which at its root demeaned, demoralized, and prostrated black folk, relegated them into a bottom caste in order to continue on, the capitalism that was happening. Now, we move on and we come back to the present day, that we look at the fact that what's just happened in New York, and we look at his manifesto. Payton Grendon had a manifesto in which he researched all of these talking points of the right wing of Great Replacement Theory, etc., etc. It was extremism. It was stuff on the fringe, okay, of our society. And I do not think that that represents the Democrat or the Republican Party. I think that those are fringe ideologies. What I will say is this. In his manifesto, he also said that there are hard targets and soft targets. And he called black people soft targets. Why? Because they were easy to take out. They were easy to shoot at. They were easy to, they were defenseless. What that says to me as a black man, as a black father, as a black husband, as a black son, I was raised by individuals who were not only gun owners, but also knew how to defend their house, defend their family. I mean, we from the hood. So that being said, I'm going to respond in a way, or I would encourage people to respond in a way that is, 1, responsible. That is 2, in a way that demonstrates power to the American society. I think that every American, no matter whether you're black, white, purple, green, or yellow, you should be a gun owner if you are responsible, if you have the mental capacity to be responsible, if you have a background that says that you're okay to be, to be responsible with a gun. hey, go ahead, get a weapon to defend yourself. I also believe in concealed carry licenses. Now, many people will say that, okay, this guy had on body armor and that a police officer tried to take him out, or that a security guard who was a retired police officer tried to take him out, and that is true. But that guy would not have picked that grocery store, which he cased out, which he drove 2 hours and over 200 miles to get to, and live streamed it. He chose that particular place because he knew that those people would be defenseless and that they would just be grocery shopping. It's funny, I want to promote a business free of charge. It's a woman-owned business owned by, I think she might have been a former vet. She's also police friendly. Her name is Jody, and she owns a business called Girl on Fire. It's a gun training course. And she happened to say something when I was in my gun training course with my wife, handgun training qualification course with my wife. She said, you could be even in Walmart or the grocery store and something will pop off. And how true are her words? How true are her words? I think that everyone should be a concealed carry gun owner. I also think that everyone should know the signs to stay visible. Stuff right now, people's minds are warped in ways that we could not even imagine. This guy, this domestic terrorist, he had the mind and the mental capacity to drive there and commit premeditated murders. Okay? So he knew what he was doing. There's no mental health illness, there's no nothing. He knew what he was doing. That means that the other everyone around him, his family included, has to start being vigilant as to the signs of when people are going off the deep end and going on to the fringes. Now, I want to get to another topic where people are comparing this to Waukesha, Wisconsin, where there was a deranged individual who he had a rap sheet and a criminal record, etc., etc. But as you look at that, that was that situation. That was a completely different situation. Human life is human life. Just as that guy might have killed grandmothers and grandfathers and people on the parade, this guy killed grandmothers and grandfathers and people on the parade in a grocery store. We can't keep comparing, there's a black person taking a life or a white person taking a life. It's still life being lost no matter what the color is. And, people might call me a coon for saying that, but we have to get back to our most basic principles of valuing everyone in their life. Why have we gotten to such a point where we're not even demonstrating, I can't even say we're going back to a point where we're not demonstrating what America is, because let's just be honest. Go back to even Elaine, Arkansas, or the slave riots of 1808 or 1837, slave revolts, in order to show their most basic humanity. This is a problem that's going to continue to plague the United States, and I can only pray that, it can get better and that things will change. But let's just be honest, I have a black daughter, I have a black wife, I have black nieces and nephews, and those are the people who I'm out here fighting for, either in the city here or whatever other cities I might go to and participate in those organizations and those politics. We saw another video that went viral over the weekend. It was an 8-year-old boy, I think it was 8, down in Dallas, Texas, or a suburb of Dallas. And he went to a black family's door with a whip. With a whip. There's obvious connotations to that. With a whip. Banging on the door. And then when he was asking for a black girl to come out of that house. First off, don't go to no black person's house banging on their door. Don't go over to their house with a whip. That's crazy enough by itself. But third of all, he wanted the little girl to come out. For what? So he could slave play? No, that's not cool. That's not cool. So now let's go to the next side. Later on is that the little girl's father black father went over to the boy's father's house to go talk man to man, and just to say, hey, I don't know what it is. Now, we don't know. We don't know how the beginning or how that father might approach the other father for him to go say, oh, I'm going to go grab a gun. I don't think that most people, most responsible gun owners, would just go have that gun sitting around. But if he did, that still doesn't justify just bringing out your gun all willy-nilly. And the other thing is that the white father, had or demonstrated poor gunsmanship in the fact that he had his gun loaded and the trigger and the safety off. He put it to the side, and when he picked it up, he shot off a bullet which could have hit him or his daughter. We have to get back to a point where we demonstrate peaceful masculinity, where we are using more level heads, because there's a lot of weak men out here who are really, quite frankly, being crazy. I mean, this even goes back to the video a couple of years ago where a guy got dissed by his lover, and he went and shot an older man and then was on the run. And then we go back to, even the subway shooting. I think that happened last month. We had a black guy who was pretty much a loner as well, and putting out YouTube videos, etc. And he went and shot up 10 people on the subway. And now you had this little white boy, white young man, who's also shooting up people. There's no more peaceful masculinity. What's going on with this society? Where are the... And then let's go to another thing. Where are the men at in Buffalo to show up? I've been seeing the videos, and I'm not saying violence. I'm just saying show up to say, hey, what's been happening in the news where they've been talking about, oh, well, we need to be peaceful and hug it out. That's for another thing. Y'all need to start doing some investigations. And then after you do the investigations of the who, the what, the when, the where, the why, the this, the that, then you start doing the hugging. Then you start doing the atoning. We need to start seeing some legislation from Congress and the old tired Negro caucus, the Congressional Black Caucus right now. And I'm disappointed in a lot of the members of the Congressional Black Caucus. I interned for the Congressional Black Caucus. And I was going to say Congressional Black Talkers. I interned for the Congressional Black Caucus, and I interned for one of the members who is now on track to be the next Speaker of the House. And I'm really disappointed that there's no legislation that's been filed so far. There's no anybody who's put out a statement talking about the anti-blackness that's going around in society. We look at hate crimes. And the highest number of hate crimes are perpetrated against black people. Why is that? That's because of media perception and also lack of understanding of what black people have truly been through in this country, or just not giving a shit about what black people have been in this country. But it's mostly anti-blackness perpetrated by, in my opinion, the media. And there's a thing called cultivation theory. You go after and you follow media outlets that fit your narrative, and you cultivate your media appetite to whatever your narrative is, on those thoughts reinforce themselves, and then you begin to perceive that there is problems out there that's bigger or smaller than what there actually is based on what the media says there are. And so why is it that we think that black people commit about 40-something% of all crimes and this and that, yet they're only 12 or 13% of the population? Is because of the media. And the media is divisive, and that's why you're seeing alternative forms of media, such as the online media, YouTube, Rumble, Getter, whatever outlet or app of your choice. You're seeing the alternative outlets. I am at most of it all. In the totality of it all, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed that we are here yet again in the American society where there's been shooting and a killing, and that individuals are saying, thoughts and prayers, which are the most that some people can do and offer in order to protect their space, which I understand, and protect their mental space. But I'm disappointed that there's no solutions that I feel will come out of this, because it happened against black folks. And so, people are just going to move on once the next major thing comes up. What I can say is that this is a point, this is a place that both Democrats and Republicans, if that's who you subscribe to work together and to say we need to end this racism in our country, and we need to root it out, and that we're not going to be profiteering off of it. Because make no mistake, while the Republicans have their faults, Democrats have their faults as well. Both parties play on anti-blackness. Not everyone in the parties are racist, but both parties play on some form of anti-blackness. And I think that we need to work as a country to move on beyond that, and to see that at its most basic form, we're not only God's people, but we're also God's children, but we're also Americans. That's the video for today, guys. If you like the content that I have, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Like I said, this is a very somber day and a sober day for me. Seeing this and then seeing that, even with the next generation, it doesn't appear to be getting any better. And it's starting at the home. And I truly think that, it's twofold issue of, peaceful masculinity, and also, where the women go, the culture goes. I'm just going to say it like that. The first teachers of a child is their mother. I had a strong mother who believed in family structure, who also believed in organization, who believed in, being ambitious and a go-getter. I had not only my father, but my stepfather and my grandfather to be strong men in my life. And then I also had multiple teacher role models who, said, regardless of their color, said, hey, you can do and be whatever you want to be in this world. I was also taught that people are human beings. No matter what their color is, at the end of the day, they're still human beings. They still have a heartbeat, and you treat every person the exact same because they put on their pants the same way you do. And I think we're losing that, or we have lost that in this country, and it's just getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And it's all based on, in my opinion, hyper media polarization, cultivation theory, and the bite theory or bite model of mind control. I'm going to go over that in a different video, and how and why we must protect our mental space in these months going forward up until the election. Okay, like I said, guys, you've been watching the Black Republican Theory. If you like the content that I have, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Thank you. Bye.